This is the second of two videos on locating evidence to inform your policy analysis. In this video, we'll go over various methods you can use to search for unpublished literature, which is also known as gray literature. So, what is gray literature? Briefly stated, this is a category of information that includes any type of document that doesn't come from a traditional commercial publisher. So this does not include books, journals, magazines, or newspapers. Gray literature is substantive information, it's often high quality, and it's written by experts. It could come from an individual, a group of individuals, from an organization, or a government entity. Examples of gray literature include dissertations, clinical trial registries, pamphlets, infographics, and more. The gray literature you'll likely use most in health policy research is what's known as the reports literature, things like research reports, working papers, issue briefs, and policy briefs. The main reason it's important for you to become familiar with this type of literature is because in public health and policy research, much of the information you need simply can't be found in books or in scholarly journals. Many public health and health policy researchers publish their findings immediately online for their audiences. Their audiences may be public health workers, government officials and policymakers, and other stakeholders. While traditional journals and books might be the best way to reach academic researchers, in the world of public health practice and policy, information is often more easily found in other formats, in gray literature. Finding gray literature can be challenging because of its very nature. Since it doesn't come from traditional commercial publishers, it's not neatly organized and indexed like journals and books are into catalogs and databases. So, how do we find it? So here's how we want to approach our searches for gray literature. I know that you can find something on any given topic. It's easy to do a web search and find something related to our topic of interest, but we want to make sure we're finding the right thing. Are we finding the best thing? Is it high quality information, relevant, thorough, in depth? Does it come from a reliable source? And is this the most current information possible? This isn't always simple to find. So as opposed to the things we look up in our everyday lives where we do a simple search and usually the first result has exactly what we need, this might take a little more time, a little more clicking and browsing around. It's just a little bit more complicated. The best way to find gray literature, if you can, is obviously to go directly to the source of the information you need. So if you know that what you're looking for is collected in the NHANES survey, for example, you can go directly to that survey website to start working with the data. If you want to research school policies in large cities, you could go to the websites of the New York Public School District or the Los Angeles City School District. So start by asking yourself, who's working on this problem? What individuals or groups are collecting these data? The longer you do this type of research, the easier these entities will become to identify. However, quite often, especially when we're first starting out as researchers, we don't know where to look. We don't know who produced that information that we need, or we might need to look in lots of different places. So if you can't identify a single source to search directly, move on to portal websites. These are websites that act as a gateway to information by providing collections of links to trusted sources or giving the user a way to search a small, curated list of sources rather than searching the entire web. For starters, is there a resources or links section in your course Blackboard site? Chances are your instructor wants you to start by looking there. There's also a public health research guide on the UIC Library website. To find the guide, from the library website, click on Guides, and then Public Health, and click on Public Health again. On the left-hand side of this guide, you'll see links to resources for finding gray literature, data and statistics, and more. One of my favorite portals to use to find gray literature is the think tank search engine created by the library at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. This is a custom Google search that you can use to search the websites of over 1,000 organizations, including foundations, government organizations, think tanks, and more. You can just Google Kennedy Think Tank Search to find the website, or there's also a link on the UIC Library Research Guide that you just saw. The third major way to find gray literature is to use a general web search like you would with Google. To find the advanced search from Google's homepage, click on Settings and then Advanced Search. On this screen, the features I use are to limit my results to .org, or you could do .gov, .edu, to search the websites of the organizations that likely produce the information I'm looking for. And then I also will often limit to PDF file type, simply because in my experience, a lot of the reports literature is published in this format. So then I have my site limitation, my file type, and then I'm going to search for my topic, homelessness and eviction, and hit search. So as we start to look through the results here, you'll see that this is in-depth research and reports from organizations working with the homeless and collecting data on this topic. So they're going to be more in-depth than something that I might find in a newspaper website. I would also recommend a technique that I call following the breadcrumbs. Use the information you find in your Google results to lead you to more of what you need. For example, let's say we're researching the relationship between evictions and homelessness. So let's say I start my search by going to Google and just doing a basic search for the words eviction and homeless. The first result that comes up is from a website called Coalition for the Homeless. So I click into that website and find some helpful information there. While I'm on this website, I also see a helpful graphic as well as the name of the relevant department in the New York City government that has this information. So that inspires me to go back to Google and look up the name of the department, the NYC Department of Homeless Services, but instead of New York, I put in Chicago because I want to see, do we have an equivalent department? And if so, what information is on their website? When I reach the website for the Chicago Department of Homeless Services, I pull a few helpful statistics from this page, and I also see that they provide links to other resources, which gives me the name of a federal department that I want to look up. When I do some searching around that website, I find this PDF report, a research report that talks about the topic I'm interested in. It talks about an emergency shelter grants program. Well, maybe that's one of my alternatives that I want to investigate further. I noticed that this actual report is from 2006, so I might not use this report exactly. The information might be a little too outdated, but I can Google the name of the program then and find some more updated information, or maybe even some evidence on whether this was an effective program or not. And then I could also go back to my Kennedy think tank search and search for homelessness and eviction. And you can see right off the bat that the sources are coming from academic websites, from the Urban Institute, and in general, they just have more substance than those original search results that we saw from our original Google search. Finding gray literature takes time, tenacity, and finesse. It's sometimes, as the saying goes, like finding a needle in a haystack. I hope you can use these tips to help make your search process more efficient and effective. But if you can't find the information you're looking for, don't hesitate to reach out for help from a librarian. We can help you over email, phone, Zoom, or in person at the library. Just look for the Contact Us link on the library homepage.